Hello everyone, welcome to our Munch and Learn today. Thanks for joining us. For anyone who was stressed with the Innovate UK bids that were due an hour ago, I hope you're all now recovering. I was doing one, I'm now fully recovering. Looking forward to the pub later on. Today we have a presentation from the Railway Industry Association. We're going to hear about the Innovation Navigator, and then hopefully that will lead into us doing more events with them over the course of the year. More to come on that. Just before I hand over, we do have another event on the 22nd of June, which is an in-person meetup in central London to hear about the rail data marketplace. But without further ado, I'll hand over to Milda.
Hi everyone, I am Milda Manumaitite. I'm the Innovation Director at the Railway Industry Association. I'm very freshly appointed Innovation Director. I used to be in the technical and innovation team, and our technical director, David Clark, will be joining the call very shortly. So for those of you who don't know what RIA is, we're a industry trade body representing UK railway suppliers. So if you're a company that does business in UK in the railways, we are here to represent your interests. So we have over 300 companies in the membership. From the biggest ones, so I saw a couple of members here, Hitachi especially, and to the smallest SMEs as well. So I personally been working with Liam very closely for many years, and I was part of the Rail Innovation Group prior joining RIA. Very actively involved in the organizational things, but I kind of got a serious day job that demands all of my attention now, but it's great to be, as I said, freshly appointed Innovation Director, and I am hoping to rekindle that relationship with Rail Innovation Group stronger. So what I'm going to do, I'll just run you over over all of the things that RIA does around innovation, and I'll just show you our website. So I think that will be the easiest way to do. Right. So this is our Unlocking Innovation page on RIA website. It's easily accessible from the main RIA website. If you go to ria.org.uk, what was the website? I actually forgot. Never mind. You can just go to Unlocking Innovation page, and this is our program designed to promote innovation in railways. It's open for everyone, so you don't have to be a member. And it consists of communication, campaigns, events, meetups, and now what I will talk a bit later is the Navigator as well. So it is designed to change the perception of innovation in the industry, because what we hear is that a lot of the companies think it's important to be innovative, but that the railway industry is not very innovative. So we want to change that view and say that actually there's a lot of good stuff going on, and help companies to network and achieve sort of contacts and potentially grow business. So you can read about what it is here. And as I said, a lot of the activities, what we do, focus around events. So Dan, I saw, is on the call, and he will be at our next event that is happening next week, actually, and it's Unlocking Innovation for Passenger Railways. It's all about sort of innovating around passenger railways, and we have lots of talks coming. So if you haven't registered, please attend. And as I said, it's free to attend, open for all. You don't have to be a member. So what we do throughout the year is just to run various activities to promote innovation, and these are our program for this year. We are actually here now, so halfway through the events. The next, what we want to do is to focus on data and digital. So at the end of the year, we'll run an event around data and digital, but also what we will start doing is preparing for a thought leadership paper on data and digital and rail. So we will be asking a lot of companies to contribute to that. And it's all about identifying the gaps where the industry needs to be the best transport system in the world. let's just say. You know, if you could say the ideal railways integrated with the rest of the mobility services, accessible for passengers, fully digital with great skills, and where we are now, what are the gaps and what do we need to do, what the government should do, what us as the suppliers and the industry can do to help achieve this. So if you have any ideas or you want to contribute to that, please let me know. I'll be all ears. So we'll be kind of doing a lot of listening activities this year, and hopefully to prepare this report and launch at our next year's flagship conference, RIA Innovation Conference in April. This is something that we've done a bit around. So this is, sorry, in the last event. Who has joined without muted themselves?
Like 2 weeks.
Please mute yourself, or Liam as a host, you can mute someone, thank you. So we've just recently, last April, joined the RIA Innovation Strategy, and you can just have a quick look there as well. And this is a document looking at where the sort of the landscape of railway R&D in the UK at the moment, and how when we're preparing for the Great British Railways, we can leverage what we've done so far around R&D. And sorry, I think I might need to ask my colleagues to be a bit quiet. Thank you very much. So how we can leverage the R&D and use the knowledge that we have with the innovation competitions like FOAC or Network Rail's R&D portfolio, and move that forward to have a bit more of a whole system approach, and how Great British Railways, being the organization that will have track and train operating companies under one roof, how that organization can help foster the innovation landscape. So we have 6 key messages around what we sort of would like to see, and also some recommendations as well to Great British Railways, what they can do to make the innovation better in the UK. So you can download the strategy, it's on the website. And then another thing that we've just recently done is the Navigator, Innovation Navigator, which is what is this Munch and Learn is all about. And this is something that we've been thinking about doing for a long time. And we've had, as a railway industry, working with the government, with the suppliers, and with other industry bodies, we accumulate a lot of information. So we hear things, and we know the resources, and we hear the conversations that are happening, and kind of have the knowledge of how to approach the industry if you're just a small company, or actually if you're a bigger company and want to innovate. So we've been having this idea to create this sort of innovation navigator for companies to use the resource. And this is a 3-stage project. And we've just launched the stage 1, which is the assess your readiness level. So this is an online interactive tool, and I'll just go with you through the steps of that tool. And there are a couple more stages coming soon, which will provide you just a bit more further resources and sort of how to help you on that journey. Just 1 second, I think. Oh, okay. Liam, David Clark is in the waiting room. If you could just let him in, that would be great, because he will actually have to take you through this and save me from blabbering on. So David Clark is our tech. Oh, hi, David. If you could just introduce yourself. But he is our technical director, and he's before my appointment as innovation director, David was actually the lead of this project. So that's why I've asked for his help to take us through it. So David, I'm on the Innovation Navigator now.
Okay, right. Well, Milda, if you scroll down to where it says take assessment, do you want me to run this? Yep. Okay, so if you unshare your screen and I'll share mine, yeah? Right, just bear with me, folks, just a second.
So while David is doing that, just to kind of explain RIA's team a bit. So as I said, we used to be a technical innovation, a single team. We've now split into two. David is leading on the technical projects. I'm leading on the Unlocking Innovation program. And this is just to give us a bit more resource and focus on innovation and.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Over to you.
Right. So, folks, I think Milda's probably already shown you the RIA website, and if you click on the purple thing at the top, you go into the Unlocking Innovation website, which again I think Milda's already shown. So we'll go straight to the Navigator. So there's going to be 3 phases to the Navigator. We've done the first one, which I'll show you in a moment, which helps you assess your readiness to engage in the market and innovate. We will then do the innovation landscape, which is looking at giving you further advice about what's out there in terms of all the innovation actors, as you might call them in the industry, and finally some advice around how to build an innovation strategy. So it's 3 parts of the same story. But if I show you the first bit, which is we see as the starting point, which is particularly for new entrants to the industry, trying to help them to understand where they are and where they need to be. So if I run an example, there's quite a lot of information here, sort of setting out the introduction. And so it tells you about the tool, how to use it, but I'll let you read that at your leisure. So it says here, get started.
David, I have an idea. If any company wants to volunteer to be a guinea pig of the and self-assess themselves.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. They're very welcome to do that. So
Chris,
we do.
I'm going to nominate Chris.
Okay. Right. Okay. So Chris, if you want to answer the questions for me as we go through. So there's just a bit of basic information about who you are and what you are, and then then it's the get started. So the first bit is about where do you think you are? How would you describe your knowledge of the rail industry? And there's 2 scores. It's where is your current understanding and where do you want to be? So this is how each of the 5 stages works. So it's a maturity assessment. So if for example you felt you currently had a moderate understanding of the rail industry, you would tick this box, but you wanted, as you grow your business and develop in the industry, to have a comprehensive understanding. So that would be how you would do it. So Chris, what are your thoughts? Where are you now and where would you want to be?
Yeah, we're fairly new to the rail industry. Our background's in aerospace, but I would say we've got a moderate understanding of the rail industry, and obviously we want a comprehensive understanding is our desired.
Okay, so that would be a reasonable assessment.
I'll just say yes.
That would be a reasonable, and there's no right and wrong answer for this. And by the way, we don't get to see the results here. This is to help you so it's all about you understanding the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And then, as you'll see, we give you some advice and guidance about how to fill the gap. And the other 2 stages will when we implement those, we'll give you further advice, which will hopefully take you further. So the next question is, which of the following best describes your knowledge of your customers? Now, I'm afraid there's a few more choices here. So the sort of highest maturity is that you have a really strong customer relationship has been established with your customer, and the sort of most new to the industry sort of situation is you have limited contact with the potential customer organizations to date, little understanding, etc. So would you like to, if you just scan over the bold statements there, Chris, where would you say you are on that spectrum, and where would you like to be?
We do have a couple of top customers, so I would say that we've probably got the customer relationships been established and it's developing.
Okay.
Positively.
So is it something like appropriate individuals in customer organization have
Well,
been
I think
identified,
we're
or a bit
higher,
stronger?
actually.
Initial engagement or even customer engagement is worth investing additional time?
No, I think we go above that. I think we're
Oh, good. Okay, that's good.
go
Customer
for that one.
relationship is established and developing positively.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you want to stay at that level, or do you
No,
want to be?
I want to go top on everything. So
Yeah. Okay. No, that's understandable. Okay. So the next question is, which of the following best describes your knowledge of the customer's acceptance process? So you've got the swing of it now, Chris. Where do you think you are on that spectrum? I know where you want to be, so it's where are you?
yeah, this is quite appropriate because I think Liam's touched on this on a couple of events I've been on. Is that procurement is a big issue.
Mhm.
So I think we're probably midway, probably the fourth one down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you can run this as many times as you want, and you might want to run it, annually or something like that to show how you're developing as a business. Okay. So now, which best describes the knowledge of your technology? So we know you want to be. I think it'd be better described as not the knowledge, but the status of your technology. So you want to be that you've entered initial production. Where are you currently? Yeah, probably up here somewhere, are you?
I would probably say for a project we're working on at the moment, probably the third one up. So initial prototyping underway.
Okay.
We supply services, but we're developing a new product at the moment. So yeah, I think
So you're happy with that one? Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And this is the last one. Which of the following statements best describes the knowledge of your capacity? So, and I think Milda, we probably need to look back at the English of this. I think it would be better to describe this as capabilities. But so you want to be your capabilities fully operational, accessible, et cetera, et cetera. Where would you say you are currently? So
I'd say in our case, we're quite high up on that. So I'd say second one down.
Okay, good. Okay, excellent. Okay, whoa, and there's the graph. Okay, so as you can see, it's going around these 5 points. Know your industry, know your customer, know the acceptance process, know your own technology, and know your capacity, and it's giving you, so instantly you can see you've got less to do around know your customer and know your capacity, more to do about your technology and your customer's acceptance processes. So that hopefully feels about right. But there's a bit more to it than that, because if we scroll down, and this is really the value of it, I think, is that there's some material about how to improve your score. So if we go to if we go to the next, I've just got the the Zoom thing is getting in my way. So for each of the axes, there's some advice, and this is what we'll build on with the next two phases. But for example, the know your industry, there's some initial information, which for anybody that's spent a bit of time in the industry will probably be old hat, but if you're completely new, it won't be. And we should thank Daisy Chapman-Chamberlain at the Innovate UK for helping us with that. So that's one example. Get to know your customer. So this is taking you through questions that what is what customer organization you're focusing on, what's driving the customer need, have they actually said they've got that need, have they publicized it, what's the operating environment, what's the benefit, what's the constraints that the customer's working under, are there competing products and services? I mean, they're all fairly sort of self-evident things, but hopefully it's useful to put them there, and there'll be less mature businesses, I think, that will benefit from that. And it goes on to help you think about the different types of people in customers there might be, because as you might find, there'll be people who, for example, are are influencers but have no ability to buy anything, and the people you also need to engage with is the buyers and approvers. So we're setting out, hopefully, just knowing somebody from a train operator or network rail is not the same as knowing a buyer as you. So it goes on. There's quite a bit of material there, and you're getting the flavor of it. Guess what? There's one for each. So again, around the acceptance process, there's a bit of background to acceptance, and it points you in the direction of various resources for that, which I won't. So if I'll I mean, it's hopefully that gives you a bit of an oversight, and it gives you you can now look at it at your leisure, to to run your own business through it in your own time. So if I just stop there, I just wonder if there's any immediate questions or thoughts or feedback on it, because it's it's us trying to offer something to help colleagues in the industry.
David, just one quick one, and thank you for that, and thank you, Liam, for nominating me. Looking at the axis of knowing your technology, I think we came quite high up. I indicated that we're quite high up on that, but that looks to be an area where we're struggling.
Yeah. I did I put it in the wrong place? I can't remember. I can download this, as you can see, as various formats, but I can't go back to at least I don't think I can go back. No, I can't, because we're trying not to make it something that is recorded and because it's for you, not for us, really.
Yeah, sure.
That's
it's just an observation. I know that was one area where we feel we're quite strong.
No, I can believe that. Yeah.
But thank you.
No, you're welcome. So
David,
I'll stop sharing, shall I? Yeah.
That actually might be a wording issue as well, which is good for us to do these sort of things with you, because the question was more about where you are in the technology readiness level rather than understanding your technology. So
yeah, I think as I said, as I was going along, you look at it with a fresh pair of eyes when you run through it again, especially with a real business. So yeah, I think we need to look at the wording around it. Yeah. But hopefully
that's very happy to be the guinea pig. It is. So your advice to Chris now, other than reading the advice documents, is how should he prepare for the next stages?
Well, reading them is one thing. I think it's then taking action on them. So it's and I think Milda's right. I think the technology one was largely about where you are in the your maturity in the rail industry. So hopefully that gap gives you, or any of the gaps gives you, a clue as to where you need to focus your efforts. Because any business, big or small, can't do everything all at the same time. So hopefully the combination of understanding which is the biggest gaps and the advice, but you then spending some time on working out what actions you need to take based upon that advice, or what further research, because the advice will only get you so far. It won't cover everything. It doesn't go to that depth, and it doesn't consider what your particular project is. But hopefully it steers you in the right direction. And some of the trivial things, like I mentioned that graphic in there about different types of customer, whether it's buyers or influencers. We come across businesses that are well, not just new to rail, but maybe sort of startup businesses that really haven't yet understood that. So just a simple nudge in that direction might get them to reappraise their relationships that they think they have with their customer, and realize that actually the people they're talking to who are very, very enthusiastic have no power to make anything happen. And that might be a dose of reality that helps them not be unrealistic about the opportunities, and readjust their efforts to try and find the person who can have the influence, for instance.
Yes, I think that's probably a key thing in the networking, is the people who are very interested in your product versus the people who are able to buy your product.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
And David, maybe you can tell just a bit more about the two phases that are upcoming as well.
Yeah, so we are looking to do the innovation landscape will build on the sort of material that Daisy has done, and take it further, because I think, as we all know, any of us who've dabbled in innovation know that there's lots of people active there. So it'll take you through. So we're planning. We've got a what I would call a matrix. So it looks, so it's series of columns with the different types of participants. So it might be innovation funders, it might be innovation supporters, it might be test facilities. So it's got about a dozen different categories in it, and then within those columns, it's got all the people we're aware of acting in that space. So if you think about, say, test facilities, you would have a column there that would have people that would mention Ukraine, it would mention RIDC, it would mention GCRE is coming around the corner. It would mention the testing facilities database and things like that. So that would be going to the next level of detail. So if the gap is, take that example, if the gap is, I've got so far, but I need to test it in a representative railway environment, it would give you some clues as to where you might go and find that.
Before you go in, quick pop quiz. How many of you knew all of the acronyms that David just rattled on?
Didn't know any of them.
Okay.
And that's why we need it. So yeah, UK Rail Research and Innovation Network, Railway Innovation and Development Centre, which is the Network Rail Test Tracks, and GCRE, which is the Global Centre of Rail Excellence, which is the new test track that's going to be hopefully built in South Wales. But that just illustrates the need for an innovation navigator. So what I always say is that we've got a very complicated landscape in rail. It's probably, people might say the same thing about other sectors. I'm sure they probably would, but rail's the one I'm familiar with. There's a lot of people trying to do good things in the rail industry. So I see Dan on the call, for example. One of those columns would be about train operator. It would include accelerator programs and so forth that various train operators. And if you don't know about that stuff, you don't know about it. So it's hopefully going to give, so it'll have this matrix of columns of different types of sources of support or whatever it might be, and then everything we know about will list in that column. But the challenge, of course, is getting is you all advising us when you find another source of such support that we can include in that. So the third bit of the jigsaw, which hopefully complements, hopefully you can see how these things build on one another. The third piece is the innovation strategy, and that might be, I wouldn't be so bold as to say it would be a business strategy, but it certainly might be one chapter in your business strategy, and that would be helping you really develop your own business innovation plan as to how, taking the inputs from the gap analysis, the spider diagram we've been looking at, taking where the insights that you've taken from that, taking the insights that you've hopefully taken from where you might get support from the Navigator piece, and then you encouraging you to think all that through and write it down as a as a strategy that helps you as a business plug all those gaps and move forward.
Great.
So
Thanks.
hopefully that's as clear as mud. So we've got all of that material in sort of rough prototype form. We now need to just tidy it up, make sure it's as up to date as it can be, and get it implemented in the website. So, hopefully we're talking a matter of months rather than an extended period.
Right.
So we got lots of people on the call that don't have cameras on. If you have any questions, do let us know. We also
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Which I might start the discussion is, if you are a paid for membership organization, why is it that this stuff is free to use? What is the thoughts behind unlocking innovation?
Do you want me to pick that up, Milda? So what we do, unlocking innovation. Well, let me start again. So Liam, you're quite right. We're a paid for membership organization, but our aim is to help grow the UK supply chain, and in growing the UK supply chain, we would hope to get more members. So there's a sort of virtuous circle there. You don't get new members without reaching out and making people aware of what you do and what you're about. We're also very passionate about innovation, and so everything that we do around unlocking innovation, if you like, is our shop window for both for the rail industry and let's be honest about it, for RIA. But fundamentally, our first aim is to get people interested in the rail industry and get them to understand the rail industry, and get them to the reason we're doing things like unlocking innovation and the Innovation Navigator is to help them be successful in the rail industry. And if they're successful in the rail industry, then given time, they'll probably realize that if you want to be really successful, you should probably be part of RIA. So it's a long-term game, but to make the industry bigger and better will make RIA bigger and better.
We also see that a lot of the times the support for the industry from the government, from the Treasury, it is more open when they can see sort of the good innovative things happening. So there is this kind of perception, as I mentioned before, that we have that the railways, there's this old Victorian infrastructure is crumbling to bits. It's expensive, it's slow, it's all analog, and then it doesn't. This kind of image does not help for the new companies to enter into market, and also for the people who fund the railways to be willing to invest into it. So it's not just the government, but if you look at investors as well, who invest in startups, if somebody comes out and say, oh, I want to do something for the railway industry, and be like, well, why? It's we don't want it to be like a fax machine. It's like, why are you investing in this? This is an ancient technology. And what we're saying, this industry is growing, is developing and evolving into a modern system that will be part of this mobility as a service offering. And we as a suppliers, and we as a RIA, we want to help these companies enter the market, grow, and potentially join RIA later. As David said, this is our free candy.
And I should say at that point that obviously with my high speed rail group hat on, that obviously the high speed space within the rail industry is kind of ever growing. They're now being well, at least confirmed to the kind of first phase and the first bit of phase 2. I know there's been some tinkering around with that, but it's still one of the biggest, I think it is the biggest new line being built anywhere in Europe at the moment. And obviously along with that comes loads of opportunities for smaller suppliers, because innovation is really, has got a really high benchmark with HS2 Limited, and so the onus on all of the suppliers that are bidding into that project is to bring innovation in, and without a doubt, all of them say that that's only going to come through their smaller suppliers. So there's a real opportunity there with high speed to do that. And I should also mention that we, as High Speed Rail Group, is a kind of membership organisation, and we have got like a bolt-on membership to RIA for small suppliers, which is, it is extremely cost effective, and it's just a way of kind of introducing you to the kind of tier 1 suppliers that are working on or hoping to work on HS2. So.
Also, just to mention that we will be doing this in real life as well. So hopefully the next couple, well, at least we're hosting Rail Innovation Group in person in RIA offices on the 20th of July. So we might be able to tell you a bit more, but also this is just a good opportunity to come and meet us and just have some wine with us after work.
Is that the free candy for that night?
Yeah. So who do we have on the call? I might just start poking people around it with being quiet.
Tahir, you joined halfway through. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. I can do it for you if you like. Tahir,
I think Tahir might not be listening.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry. Hiya. I work for a company called Green Street Rail down Redditch. We've been working for the railway industry for the last almost 30 years, I think, attached to it. We did a lot of data recorders at the beginning for railway industry and driver safety devices. We still supply them. We maintain the data loggers and bits and bobs to go with the data loggers, basically sensors and that sort of things. But things moving on fast at the moment on railway industry, and I think we're falling slightly behind on it, I should say. And we're trying to catch up basically and see what we can do, or the new products, or how can we interface to other technologies on vehicles. So that's what we're looking at the moment.
So can I ask, how are you upping your offer? How are you looking to up your offer?
I think the struggling point is that the company it went down back in 2019, and then we re-established ourselves again under Green Street, and because it took time to rebuild, and that gaps, it's about 2 years, and we are sort of, I'm not saying we're out of contact, but it was difficult to develop and rebuild the company at the same time. So I think there's a gap now, and we're trying to re-link ourselves with the existing customer, see what we can offer in new way. The last thing we were doing was the remote data transfer from the vehicles to servers, and obviously linked to the existing dashboards, whatever the customers got. So that's where we were at the time. But that's already there at the moment. So we're trying to look into sensor market now rather than doing that bit, because that's already, we've done it. So we got that bit. Now we're trying to link our sensors or develop sensors to link to our kits and offer the data for that. So that's where we are. And I'm actually one of the designers in office in the base.
Yeah, Tahir, are you familiar with all of the challenge statements that?
I'm not, because I don't get involved in that side. That's what I'm saying. So I came up with this to actually listen what people got to say and what's there out there. Can we interact anyhow? Or
so I mean, thanks for sharing that, Tahir. I mean, it's I've heard very similar situations from, other companies that we speak to, both members and non-members. Just to reassure you, I think there's quite a bit of transition going on in the industry at the moment. So there's many businesses like yours that are trying to sort of find ways of adding additional value to their product and or diversify their product, because long established products are perhaps sometimes not in such great demand for one of a number of reasons. So for instance, in the rolling stock world, there's been quite a lot, there's been a substantial amount of orders in recent years. So we've replaced half the fleet in a period of 7 years. So it doesn't take, mathematical genius to work out that there's not going to be the same volume carrying forward. That's one aspect. But the other aspect is the change in technology, and particularly around data. And so what you've got there is potentially a rich source of data, which you're obviously trying to find new business models for. So I mean, I don't know, putting down on the spot a little bit, that the sort of so Milda was referring to challenge statements, and so around rolling stock, to the extent there's challenge statements, they're probably either in the train operators, the manufacturers, or the Roscos. So I just wonder, from the point of view of a train operator, whether for systems on your trains that are generating data, what are the top tips in terms of how people can offer new insights or new or how would you put challenge? You probably, it's difficult to know what you don't know, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess just to jump in from our perspective for South Western Railway, it's like you say, it's difficult to know what we don't know, and I think we're doing quite a lot of work at the moment to really make sure we understand what our own challenge statements are, which we can then put out to market. But I think it needs to be a bit of a sort of circular approach, really, where we work with market to help understand what those challenge statements are as well. So it's something we're trying to explore more, and we've got workshops planned in the future, sort of involving people across the business to eke some of those out. But hopefully, I can only really speak on behalf of SWR, but hopefully we'll be in a position soon, or at some point, where we can sort of be a bit more clear in publishing those challenge statements, and I think that will really help the supply chain to address them.
That would be good. We look forward to those.
Yeah, and the challenge statements, so Network Rail and Transport for London, and I think Transport for Wales as well have, and they are all about what are the pain points within these organizations. So where do the rail clients need help from innovators? So it's a kind of useful guide to just go and have a little browse and see whether there's anything that matches what you're working on. And I know that the train operating companies are considering potentially sharing some of those as well. Okay, so we got last 10 minutes. If you have any more questions, I wonder if was it Ian that had trouble with his microphone? If
Abby's got her hand up.
Oh, okay.
Milda.
Hi, Abby.
Oh, I realise I'm on mute. Yeah, thank you, David. Thank you, Milda. In terms of, you were talking about the different phases of your innovation navigator, and you said about illustrating where different test sites are. Would you also be interested in illustrating where different office spaces are that are aimed at SMEs and startups? Specifically Raise?
Obviously Raise.
It's a lovely office.
Hypothetically, yes. It's just a question of we have to draw the line somewhere, so I think if we can draw out the innovation angle in what Raise is offering, then yeah. I think then yes we can.
Yeah.
So yeah. Good thought.
Specifically, it's obviously Siemens, the University of Birmingham, and East Riding of Yorkshire Council have all come together to create a rail accelerator and innovation solutions hub, which is where you end up, it's for enterprise, that's how you get to the word raise. So it is very applicable to fostering, nurturing, creating an ecosystem for SMEs and startups to create innovation, improve productivity in rail, have potential opportunity to work with Siemens. You know, it's an exciting project, and it's the new rail village for Goole as well for Yorkshire. So, you know, I would say testing facility is brilliant, but also there is opportunity where companies need to have space to actually work and operate from. So that would be why I think it would be a good case to have on your list as well.
Oh, I don't think we've not necessarily, I'll have to check, I haven't got it in front of me. I'm not sure if we've got a column for incubators, but I'd kind of, from your description, I'd kind of characterize it as an incubator.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So I'm just making a note to self for that.
Okay, and
I think it's brilliant. Everything's sort of linking together, isn't it? I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And can I bring Ian, because you were having trouble with your microphone when introducing yourself?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, he was trying to search for a pair of headphones I've previously used. Yeah, so I'm Ian Rush. I'm a principal consultant at Data and Process Advantage and had 31 years experience in the rail industry now, working Network Rail and more recently with HS2 and Crossrail. I'm currently doing some work with Hanoi, like transit. So that was a bit you missed. It's just that the introductions at the beginning.
Have you used the Innovation Navigator?
I haven't, no. I've viewed it.
Will you use it now? Oh, on mute. Okay. I think Milda is frozen, so perhaps if you can all hear me, can anyone say if they can hear me? Okay,
yeah,
so it's just Milda is frozen. Perfect, cool. Does anyone have any last questions? Or
You're
points?
frozen, Milda. Sorry.
Sorry,
I
have any last questions or points they'd like to raise? Thank you for being our guinea pig, Chris. Lots of advice for you. If no one else does have any points that they want to raise, Milda, you're back now. Would you like to say anything? Or see, Andrew's turned on his camera. Andrew, any points?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Andrew's about to.
I sort of a question more for Ria and sort of general, and you know, there are endless amounts of emails about various innovation programs and competitions, almost to the extent it's a swamping of too much information. Do you see sort of the RIA and the Unlock Innovation Scheme, you know, being a central source of all the various competitions and their deadlines and sort of links to those?
We already, you may know, Andrew, we already try and do that through our weekly Tech Talk email that goes out to members. I have to be frank, we're probably not going to put that in the Innovation Navigator, because there has to be some things that are, you know, that's quite a valuable piece of information, and you know, there has to be a reason for people to pay their subs. So we're probably not going to do, there'll probably be sort of some things. I mean, so for instance, we might put a block in the innovation landscape that is sources of funding, and what we're thinking of doing is instead of pushing it out once a week on a Tuesday in Tech Talk, we'll put it on the website, but it'll be on the members' website. So it would be something that our members would be able to access. But if others clicked on that box, it would just say, sorry, members only. But I think at the moment, that's probably the only area that we've identified that we think we probably need to keep for RIA members, just because it takes us a bit of time to consolidate it, and it's got a genuine commercial value.
And I guess, yeah, by putting it on a website like that, at least you get an indication of people who do click and follow through, so you can monitor that from an analytics perspective.
You're quite right. You know, there is an awful lot going on. You're quite right. So we already collect that. So it'll certainly be available to members, but it probably won't be available free to non-members.
David, without wanting to, don't know what the right word is, but cut you out or undersell what your work is doing. I guess the work of Daisy at Innovate UK KTN should probably be acknowledged as well, in that she does a sort of a regular roundup of funding opportunities. You know, obviously that's slightly different from what you're doing, and that's still a service that's worth paying for free membership. But I think Daisy Innovate UK KTN can certainly provide a sort of roundup of opportunities, if that's what you're looking for, Andrew.
No, it's not so much I'm looking for it, it's almost the sense I get so much of it.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would. I don't know if there's I know RIA have a sort of a calendar of events, but it's almost like a calendar of opportunity. You know, funding opportunities would be useful as well. I'm not sure if that's something.
And I guess it's sort of, you know, if somebody asked me, you know, where do I go looking for this? You know, partly Tech Talk, you know, is one of the sources, but you know, I would probably at this stage now be pointing people more to Daisy and Innovate UK. And some material comes from there, because it is more sort of comprehensive, I think, and it is where sort of major sources of the sort of innovation funding are coming from.
That's good. One thing we're studiously trying to avoid is duplicating. So one of the organizations that will be one of the columns that will be in the Innovation Navigator or Innovation Landscape will be you know, sources, I forget what we've termed it, it's sources of advice, and KTN will be in there. So it would be pointing you to go and register with KTN, get on their mailing list and so forth, because there's just no point us regurgitating and repeating what others are doing very well, as Dan highlights. But what we do want to do is highlight the landscape. So we want to plot out that organizations like KTN exist in the landscape, and you should engage with them.
Great.
And by the way, this thing won't be right on day one. You know, so it'll be our best attempt, our best knowledge. So what we'll be always looking for is feedback as to, you know, what's not in it that should be in it, or equally what's in it that has now become, you know, defunct or whatever. So we'll always be looking for feedback.
Great, thanks for that. I see we're just out of time now, so I don't think we have any time for any more questions, unfortunately, but very good discussion. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you particularly to David and Milda for presenting. If you have any more information, how do they get in touch with you?
Just email us. I think our emails are widely available, but it's david.clark or milda.manamanatt at riagb.org.uk.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah,
I forgot that one as well earlier in the call.
Contact me and I'll help you.
Yeah. And then we'll see you hopefully in July in our offices.
Yes, the 2 events coming up: 22nd of June in London, Soho, with the Rail Data Marketplace, and then 20th of July at the Railway Industry Association offices in Westminster.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you all again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.